What's up?
Good morning, everyone. How you doing?
Hey,
I'm good. What's up, everybody? Wow, so many people on the line right now with us. That's amazing. How you doing, Scott? Team?
I'm
Very
doing
well,
great.
very well.
Okay.
Arm has earnings
First time,
tonight.
right?
Bark has earnings tonight. So
Yeah, we'll get to the news and everything in a minute, guys. This is the first live streaming that we do. With our trading room. So that's incredible. Very exciting moment. Um, Scott is with us, an amazing trader. Team, of course, as you know him from Discord manager, and we're gonna have a blast, like always. Talk about trading. Um, we're gonna analyze some of the pre-market preps, the gappers, small caps, large caps, all of those, and of course, do the giveaway at the end of the show. So stay tuned throughout the day. Scott, you want to take it away?
Yep, I certainly will. So, just to give you a bit of background on me, I've been in the industry for investment banking and security services for the best part of about 20 years. So, I'm just looking to bring some of that kind of analysis from an institutional perspective. So, it might be a little bit different from what you've seen before, but we'll give you a look at what I do for my pre-market for starters, starting with today's gappers, which the big one this morning is GLT, which I'm finding support in liquidity pools. So you'll find I will draw benchmarks and liquidity pools. Benchmarks kind of are levels up ahead that I'm predicting that there could be a price reversal. They're not 100% that they're a guideline, so they are an institutional benchmark. And then the liquidity pools kind of move with the price. So if price continues to move up, then that liquidity pool will move up with it, and the same to the downside. And there is always one pretty close that you should be aware of. So this morning on GLT, we have a buyer's liquidity hold here. This is the main one. This is the switch on. We get this at 8 a.m. every morning where the algos kick in, the liquidity machines switch on, and it kind of goes crazy. And it kind of then bounces between the two pools that we had here. So at the moment for GLT, what I'm seeing is potential today to get us up to 340 and 4. Ultimately, we could go to 550 on this 560. But this liquidity pool has to hold in order to do that. Okay, so that's what I'm really looking for at this point. This pool here is negated because it took a look at the bottom. So at the minute, either bounce in between where I wouldn't get involved, or if we get a deep pull in here and a curl up, I might like that to get from 240 to 340, or a break above 287 and then go to 353.
So,
Any
Scott,
thoughts on that, guys?
let me ask you this. It's a gapper, right? But there is anything besides gapping up very nicely, like 100% or so. What are you looking for when it comes to saying, that's the one for you today?
So I kind of have a watch list. I kind of look at if the stock has spiked recently before without any news particularly, I kind of put them on my watch list. This isn't one today, but ultimately I'm looking for a spread down below. It's a spread down here. In this case, it is right here. And I use that spread to draw an area around it, which when we look at large cap stocks is essentially best execution. You've got a mid price here. If anyone wants to get in, you normally have a seller's price above it and a buyer's price below it. So if we're filling client orders, we wouldn't give the client 154. We'd try and get them in if they're buyers at 115, or if they're sellers, we'd try and get them in at 199. So that to me is normal business. If we break out of what I call normal business, that's when I'm looking for a trend to start, because there'll be an imbalance of buy orders to sell orders. In this case, the buy side on GLT. So that's why I'm looking for upside potential this morning.
So, Tiny, you asking if GTL it's a long or short? Looks like a long on the Scott list, right?
Yeah, for me, I'm looking for a long. If we can break above here, come back, that would be my long to there. I do have a position already open from pre-market this morning. It's break even because it's in the middle of this. I was taking this curl out, so it's literally right here. So I'm anticipating a break of this liquidity pool to go to 360.
Nice. What else on the radar?
Oh, what else we got? There was also Hollow. Hollow was going crazy and is going crazy now. So Hollow has acknowledged its first benchmark here this morning. So that was a nice trade out of that buyer's liquidity pool. The switch on here, bounce between the two pools. And again, this is what I was looking. This is what I'm looking for GLT to do: is break that sell side liquidity pool and shoot up to the benchmark. There is a level above here, 420, that we could get to, but there is a bogey level sitting in the middle of these two, so I'll just be aware. So yeah, buy side potentially up to 420, but I will start to look for shorts around that area as well.
That's a nice one. Yeah, here's a question for you, Scott.
Yeah.
So quickly, if you can go through the process of getting those liquidity pools.
Yeah, sure. So I am kind of out of all my NDA agreements. I finished up with my last investment bank back in June, and year end was that those NDAs over. I've been developing some software since then, and kind of the formulas that identify these moving pools are in there. It's a very simple tool that I use. It literally will take the low to the high, but you will follow it up. Okay, so there's my liquidity pool at that point. Just keep on following price up, keep on following price up. So at this high, the liquidity pool now resides here. So I literally draw this over, drop it up there, and just right. So now, really, for me, the best place to buy, cheaper than where it is right now, would be at this liquidity pool. I'd rather price come down to this pool and pull out and get in there than I would try and get in where it is at the moment. Obviously, small caps can run, but that's generally how I find all these liquidity pools and benchmarks.
Nice. Do you have anything else on the radar?
We have. So I want to just a little potential talk about SMCI. This has been going absolutely crazy, and it was going. It obviously hasn't looked back for months, but this is the first time on the hourly that it's actually at this point in time holding a seller's liquidity pool. Until now, it hasn't done it. It's just been going up and up, right? So, but I've just got my eye on this. I'm not saying it's going to drop today, but I've just got my eye on whether or not this could be forming some sort of top up here on SMCI.
Tim,
you're fairly quiet today. Anything you want to share?
Oh no, I was just letting that go because that's some good stuff there. Yeah, so I am, like I said, my big thing that I am excited about. There's two key things. One is ARM has earnings this evening, and the other is Bark has earnings this evening. So Bark, I'm kind of pleased with because that was a thesis I formed right around Christmas. I saw the dog toys in Target. The dog toy aisle was sold out, so I have a couple calls on that, and then I've been in Trade the Pool looking for moves where it might be doing an earnings run up. And so right now it's hard to tell. The spreads pre-market are super wide. And let me do.
What's the symbol for that?
That one is bark, like a dog barking.
Okay.
BARK. So I'll just pull out to a little wider view here. So yeah, they kept trying to go for $1. If it gets above $1 though, then it can go up. And then we've got, let me do a quick thing here. Like this could be a case where it sort of broke out of the bottom of the channel like a little bit, and it'll come down to retest. So if that's the case, there's a lot of room to the upside. But my idea is just that they're going to surprise to the upside on earnings. And I saw some pushes on it before. And it didn't just seem to be when small caps were pushing. So that's cool. Good dog toys too, very durable.
Nice.
They're the only ones that survived the bulldog so far. The other one is ARM has earnings this evening, and ARM is, they control they have the ISA and the reference implementation for the almost entirely used the mobile processor that you used in pretty much everything. They are making headway into the server and desktop spaces as well. So For example, AWS has the Graviton 2 servers are ARM based. So some of this, there's two key things on this. The SoftBank lockup is expiring in March, I believe. No, it might be. Excuse me. I think it's February 13th. I have to double check. I'll come back later. So SoftBank, I guess, somewhat notorious for selling into people there. And the other thing is apparently they don't get I think there's some debt, and they don't get paid great royalties for any for the processors, especially from Apple. But again, the volume and just having that IP. So they got a
Nice.
good heritage too. Scott, do you remember the BBC Micro? Was that before your time, or is that? So,
No, I do remember it. I do remember it. Yeah, it's
so they have a proud lineage, because that's the
Very
Acorn
yellow.
Archimedes, the BBC Micro. That was, and now they're in every phone pretty much. Also,
Crazy.
GE Healthcare had earnings last night, and they apparently are doing well. Last I checked, yeah, closed up at 81. So
Whoa.
that was a 5-6 point move. And then I'm looking at a couple other ones, but I'll share those once I get out there. I think the one that I'm looking at as a possible upside, and I know we have a lot of people that love trading the small caps on Trade the Pool.
Yeah,
We have a lot of
definitely.
people who like shorting them, and there is a great opportunity to do that. But one that could be good for the upside as well. You can go long them as well. I'm not sure if people notice or know this, but BRTX. I was in them before, and I have to remember what they do actually, but they closed down 54%. But this was just on a warrant exercise, so that sounds to me like more of a technical thing, just based on the dilution rather than anything fundamental. So
Right.
I'm going to be watching that and seeing which way it might go, but that could be, obviously if it reclaims that, that's a nice move up.
Nice, very nice. And
Nice.
I see we have a nice question from the audience as well. So Julia, no, it's not a whiskey, just a where's that? It's not a whiskey, just a coffee. No worries. We're not gonna do that before trading. Um, so they're asking guys, also asking about the circle that you have there, Scott.
This circle?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the application that I've been developing to pull out those. I've called it Liquid Vision because it kind of gives you a visual of liquidity pools, also benchmarks. It's just what I use in order to identify them. So I'm taking the spreads at the bottom and just looking to see where or whereabouts these levels could come in. So example now, what Tim was talking about in general healthcare, I see this being an area that it could pause, essentially profit taking from this move up. If there's another leg to go, this could go up to $88, $89. But I would also anticipate, it's not a definite it has to do it, but there's always a liquidity pool sitting here. So that aggressive move has a liquidity pool sitting down here right now. Again, I'd always rather that, this would be a chase for me right now. It's not to say it can't go, but I'd always rather that pull back to liquidity because I know there's institutional interest at that level.
Now, is that where's VWAP on there? Just out of curiosity, how that coincides with
So in
that.
terms of VWAP, you're going to have VWAP looking in.
And how does so when you're looking at these things, do you
You're right up there.
look at the fundamentals at all in terms of the news, the sentiment, to get a sense of which direction you think it'll go? Do you use that to get an idea of where it'll range? Are you purely going on the chart and your knowledge, or purely going on the zones you can see? Like, how do you how does that
Yeah.
how do those different pieces come together?
Yeah, so I think the math and the formula is a precursor to the news. The news is kind of there. It's similar to the economic data, right? When sometimes it doesn't make sense what way the market goes, the release is positive, and yet actually the stock drops. So I overall, yes, fundamentals, growth stocks, that sort of thing, interest rates, yes, they have an impact. When I'm looking at individual stocks, it's purely a formula thing for me.
Okay, so let's try to jump into the pre-market because I see the guys in the chat want us to check out some of their stocks as well. So I'm going to share my screen for a second. I do have some of them also on my radar. Big names like Baba, Alibaba, FTNT, RBLX, Snap. Those names also gapping up or down right now. If you want to share some macro news on that team, feel free on Baba or anyone else that we want to add some news. But
I heard there
basically,
was some buybacks.
Buybacks, it's earnings, no? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I heard in the earnings they reported. I'll double check. And of course,
Nice.
that's in the context of recently China just banned short selling, among other things. So
Yeah.
always a sign of confidence in their own markets there. But apparently this one's unstoppable.
So now, yeah, we're dropping from 78 to 74 right now. So what I'd love to do is just mark the levels that will basically give us the idea or the range for that day. So obviously we got this gap up and we can mark the end of the gap or the close of the gap at 74 or 60 something. So we're right about that, right on that. And if I'm looking for the next level, that should be the area between 73.40 all the way to 72.90. So I'll mark this area as well. This should be it. So now when we are trying to build a scenario to trade that, to take that trade, one will be short right from the open, look for the resistance from the close of the gap, and then try to short it all the way down to those support levels. Another option is to wait for that drop and try to buy the dip at around this level. And the third one will be breaking through the resistance. Let's say we start the day, it's actually breaking through resistance, holding support, and then go long, and you got plenty of room to the upside. So one option, try to short it kind of aggressive from the beginning. If you see the resistance, dropping down to support, buying the dip all the way up, or a breakthrough, retest, and then pushing higher. What do you think about that, Scott?
Yeah, so I think I've got a buyer's hold liquidity pool sitting right where it's just dropped down to. It's between 75 and 73.20 there. I'll just share that one.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, I pulled up the earnings. So let's see, they missed on revenue, only by only 1 billion. EBITDA adjusted is 15. Beat, EPS beat, and $25 billion stock buyback.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what I'm seeing here is, so this guy's a benchmark up here, this zone. So that's what I'm looking to take is the meat of the move in the middle. Now there is another zone up the top of this. Oh, sorry, it's sitting up there off my chart at the moment. There's another zone up there at the top, but what we've just done is slammed off that benchmark for me into a buyer's hold liquidity pool. So this needs to hold the price of the open and of the day. So if we start to curl up out of this, I would have a long potential entry. If this breaks on the open, then I'd be looking for short for 73.15 thereabouts.
So as long as it hold the range that you marked there, you're in a buy. You're looking to buy it, right?
Yeah, but acknowledging that there is a benchmark that can sort of like signify the end of a short-term trend on a benchmark, which hence the big jump into it.
What's the price that you marked there?
That is between 75.40, let's say, and 73.
Okay.
So it's quite a range when we drop down. So that's on the 2 hour. But if we're jumping down into it, yeah, there's 3 pools of liquidity here, by the way. The top, the middle kind of thing, and the bottom. So that represents 3 liquidity providers that all kind of listed stocks have to have. And they obviously fight against each other for the best price of the day. So you can see, like you could see sometimes we bounce in once and then come down a bit lower. And that's just getting in that liquidity for those buyers if they're going to push it up there.
Nice. So Let's try to go to RBLX as well. Also gapping up in that case, huge gap.
Mhm.
Again, earnings. This is the moment that we want to shine as traders. We have so much liquidity and so many opportunities, and it's much better or even fun to trade in those kind of environment. Right now, opening at 44. So there's a nice gap still open from December. What is it? Yeah, at the end of December or the beginning of January this year. So we can mark those levels as well. So the open and the close of the gap between 44.70 to 45.80. So basically, right now, reaching that resistance from the gap. In a lot of the times, especially on a big gap like this, you will see a drop when it comes to when price is reaching resistance. It could go for me between 44.70 all the way to 45 and then try to drop. So that's an area between the beginning of the gap and 45. The round number should create the resistance to the downside. If we break through that, we got another roughly $1 to the upside to close the gap basically to 46, a little bit less than that, lower than that. So this RBLX for me, I'll watch it. And oh, the guys in the back office telling me that in order for us to do this raffle or the giveaway, we need likes from you guys. So every 20 likes on YouTube, we will have one mini buying power account for free. That's $20,000 of buying power to trade with on a valuation account. Once you pass the evaluation, you get funded as a stock trader. So go ahead and click that like button, and hopefully we will have many. So every 20, we will give one for free. Another one on my watch list is, as you mentioned as well in the chat, Snap. What do you
Snap.
have on Snap, team? Tell us, give us the news behind the scene.
I heard they dropped. I
Ooh,
haven't been following that one too closely myself.
so that's a nice drop to 12.
I heard
Uh,
Dave Portnoy was heavy into that one, so apparently he bought a lot of calls and sold a lot of puts. So, oh well.
so yeah, that's a nice drop to around the 12. We still got, that's amazing how things, the price will move toward those gaps, because we do have a gap open from November 23, still open at around 1140. So makes sense. We want to push to that liquidity levels as well. So you can mark the area there. And besides that, I'm trying to look for the resistance. So in case it will reach that, we can try to go short. Should be at around 1230. So if price will get the resistance from 1230, that could be a nice move to the downside. Support at 1140 could be a nice move to the upside. What do you see there, Scott?
Yeah, I've seen just from that whole move there. I'm not surprised to see it stop initially at this level. We've got 11. Yeah, where it is right now, down to 1057, would be an area that liquidity could come in for this if they're going to buy it back up.
Yeah,
So yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I think there could be a short on this morning, but we'd have to see where best execution lies for the open. Oh, it's very tight. No, it's not. Yeah, I'm just going to see what happens with Snap there. I don't want this to rest for the whole day. I do want to see some other action, preferably a little dip down and then a move out. A little dip down here and then a move out towards the VWAP.
nice. Yeah, I
I'll
also
just
see
say
Mr. T. I'm looking also at FTNT. Mr. T from the chat just mentioned FTNT also popping up from 67 to 77, 73 right now. Also interesting, not a lot of volume, so keep that in mind as well. You want to have a lot of volume to get the nice setups. What are you saying, Tim?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I hope Dave hedged himself, or otherwise he'll have
Hmm.
Dave Port. No, am I right, Dave Port? But he might have to switch to buying only the slice of pizza instead of only eating the one slice for his reviews. But you never know. Sometimes you get a crazy bounce after that. There's always somebody ready to buy the dip. You know.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
catching that knife can be risky. I do have a possible short candidate for us today, which is another bio farm penny stock. So this is NVIV. So they actually just filed for bankruptcy February 1st, I guess, but they have notes they plan to continue operations and they've submitted requests to maintain business operations and potentially sell assets. So that's curling up a little bit in the pre-market, but it's down. It tried pushing yesterday and then kind of gave it up midday. So
Yeah.
that's
I had this yesterday. I like this for another potential push up, Tim. I've got a level
oh
here.
really?
So stock was resting from yesterday's push. It was into a benchmark yesterday. There's one higher that I haven't got drawn in here, but it was just resting overnight in this buyer's pool down here. So yeah, if we can curl out of this buyer's pool above 52, I think I had 140 on it. Don't quote me on that. I'll redraw it in a second. Give you a shout on that.
And while you do that, another interesting, so fast food could be a sector. I guess McDonald's released some survey notes, or what did they say here? But basically, they're seeing less demand for eating out fast food. Some potential weakness in that. Let's see, McDonald's says it's seeing decreased traffic from consumers making 45K and less. Eating at home has become more affordable. So McD and then that whole sector like When, right? And then
Yeah.
all I think Five Guys is public. Chipotle also just had earnings though, and their their stock is even crazy higher than it normally is.
So guys, we're just about to, yeah, that's the ring bell, the opening bell. So we are live right in the market. Guys at home that listening, if you have any good trades, anything you're watching, feel free to share it with us. We are now looking for those trades. I actually wanted to show you the trades that the trade that I made still in on the Nasdaq. I took that yesterday or 2 days ago, and it's still doing very nice. I'll share it with you later on because we can learn from that as well. Let us know if you got anything on the radar. I'm keeping my eyes on BABA, BABA, also Tesla. We didn't talk about it, but looking pretty good for today. Any news on Tesla, Tim?
That I'm not sure. That's another one. Know a lot of people follow that. I just know that in general, there was the Elon compensation thing. So the pay package got thrown out by the court. He's been making noises about moving to Texas and apparently has a lot of shareholder support. So
Nice.
I don't know where that stands, but looks like there might be rumors that that's going well. I don't know.
So with Tesla, I've just got a buyer's hold pulled down here that we're just bouncing out of here. That does need to hold for me to be upside. If there's something else I'm looking for here as well, which is these areas above market and below market on that first, not the first, kind of the last pre-market swing in. So the last pre-market swing from the high to the low, pulled back to a sell side liquidity pool, dumped down to its buy side liquidity pool. And this is the area here at the bottom of this rectangle that I expect, if we do have buy orders, to get filled. Now, that doesn't mean it has to go up. It just means that they come down there for a better execution price than where it was a little bit earlier. So we could see it push down here to a profit level of 86.70. But watching this area again, just as the small caps, looking for this to see whether it can hold today, to whether that's a dip buy for Tesla as it stands.
Yeah, I like this area as well. I'm gonna start buying it if it will go above 188.50. It's a bit aggressive, so for those of you who want to take it slow, feel free. Let's see if it can hold this area. Also, nice move from Baba to the upside, so breaking through the resistance that we talked about. If it could drop and hold the resistance that will become support, then we can it could be a nice one as well to watch. So Tesla and BABA on my radar.
Got a little starter position on Tesla. We'll see if it holds. It's a little bit aggressive. It's actually met neither of my confirmation signals, so I like it to go. I have these stair steppers here. This is literally just, I think you'll find the first one is a 4 EMA, the second one is a 9 EMA, and they can generally hold trend very well. Like, so this trend will not be over as such for a curl round until you come up above that. Above these steps, you'll find that they're pretty decent moving average to hold an aggressive trend as it is. You can see here this move back here is normally always held until the pullback comes, and then it will hold again. So they're not about a couple of EMAs to look for the opening kind of volume as to whether it's going to hold for the start of the session. To me, that's the drop down into all three liquidity pools here. So there's provider, top, middle, and bottom. And that's, if there was a liquidity provider here, they've just grabbed the best price of the session against all three of them. And now, if that is going to go up, for the next half hour kind of thing, this is where it would be from. But that doesn't mean it has to. Just because they've taken that liquidity in there, you see it pump for a little bit, doesn't mean it has to. I would be taking this level up here from pre-market to see how far we would go. So actually the benchmark is down at 85.78. So now it's a fight between the liquidity and the benchmark to see if we can't get this gap filled. But I think that could be pretty quick if we get that drop. What else have we got here?
I'm watching RBLX close.
RBLX.
Reaching one of the resistance levels that we marked. So interesting to see if it can hold the 44.70 all the way to the 45. And that could be a potential drop from there. That's what I'm looking for.
So that's a nice, that's a nice VWAP play for RBLX as well at the moment. Off the, what have we got here? 200 EMA and VWAP. Yeah, that's the 200. Sorry, a nice bounce off the 200 back to VWAP on RBLX. Tesla thinking about coming out of that zone by the looks of it. So how do you get your watch list together in the morning then, Michael? What puts RBLX on your watch list this morning?
Yeah, first of all, it's always the news, right? Because news will bring a lot of liquidity, a lot of volatility. So that's 100% the first thing I would look for. And then as we did
on Roblox, do we know what the
that's it's earnings. So for me, any type of earnings, it could be a good one or a bad one. At the end, earnings will bring traffic, and that's what we're looking for, traffic. From there, it's all about just, as we did, mark the levels, supply, demand, areas where you can expect the price to go to or get rejected from, and that's what I would look for, basically.
Gotcha. Okay. So, quick.
And that's when earning on earnings, that's what I would look for. Other than that, in most cases, I would just keep my focus on the big names because they just know how to move.
Okay, GLT. Like I said, this is the one I'm already in. That's the better entry for me now. Is we've come into this, and for anyone that sees this at 8 a.m., this liquidity switch on is an indication of where the two pools are. And what we've done is literally just come to, you can see we've bounced into it 3 or 4 times here. Now we've just dipped into that. This is the best opportunity right now if we are going to push 2 new highs. And I'm looking for kind of like, not being greedy would be 350 at the bottom there. But we need to see if this is going to cause us any problem here getting through this. So what I've got is a kind of a I don't know if you guys can you hear that in the background?
What's that?
Their tickers being called out.
Nope.
No. Okay. All right. We'll see if we can get that on. But basically, what I'm looking at now is for money flow coming in to the stock, and that's kind of buy side money flow, momentum, and I want that to continue, right? So if I get up to this sell side liquidity flow and I'm hearing money flow coming into the market, that is something that I want to continue through this area. If I hear that coming in and then all of a sudden it goes quiet and starts to curl, that's not something that I want, obviously, for the buy side. So that's what I listen out for. Apparently, Hollow is getting some flow as well. Let's see what Hollow is doing. Right, so Hollow's getting momentum to obviously the downside, very, very close to that benchmark 2 there. Couple of cents off. So that's what that is for me. Now, if that benchmark 2 is going to be our high of the day, if I'm going to try and get into this, and remember, it is front side. This is, these stocks are very dangerous front side to trade. But if you are going to take a look, I would want to know that this stock can come back from where it is now, right? Because if I can get that overlay on there, right? So at the minute, I've got a buyer's hold liquidity pool, right? So if we're going to hold the market today and go any higher or try and double top, this is the area that I'd kind of expect to hold it. If we don't get it, sometimes it's a bit more aggressive to run up again. Then if 399.4 can hold, that's the one I like to take on the short side. Still aggressive front side action, first day that is popping, but that is what I like to see. Is rather than chase it down here at 340 and then I'm back, I'm down 60 cents, I want to wait for that to hit the 60 cents mark back up, and then I'll try and short it there.
Nice. So we got long for Qs. I don't know about that yet. Joe Bert, price dropping down right now on Qs. We need to, there was a nice move to the upside. Let me share my screen for a second. So if I'm looking at the Nasdaq, there was a pretty nice, on a 1 minute chart, pretty nice move to the upside. So now dropping down to support, I guess we need to see it a little bit lower than that in order to start looking for another buy. Just reaching those numbers or even a little bit lower than that, because we did make a nice move to the upside. So gotta watch that as well. Tesla, I
just covered on Tesla.
Yeah. So I started very small on Tesla, so I didn't go big yet. Just added when it dropped a little bit. Now maybe if it will push and retest, I can add a little bit more. And I took some BABA before that, but again, just testing the water.
So yeah, I've just covered a little bit into this. Let me just see if I can switch here. Yeah, so that's where, remember I just said that very low liquidity provider has just got that best price for the open, right? That's for the open. It doesn't have to be for the day, but it's for the open. Now what we've got is a seller's hold here level, right? So they've come back for this liquidity pool. Now that means one of two things. Okay, it might be an indication of what they're looking for. Now, one or two things is they've had to pull back to get that liquidity to the downside to dump it, and this is now going to break, and now we've got a downside move on our hands. If we have got a downside move on our hands, this is where I expect it to go to today. So still need to break out of here. This is just a double bottom. If it does break, I expect this area for a target to the downside. Like I said, I covered some up there 189 just as it went into there. This is either a lovely place to add or it's a really bad place to add, right? So I might just keep what I've got, which is only a little bit better.
If you're looking at Tesla on an hourly chart, right?
Yeah,
it looks pretty good to the upside. Like generally speaking, made this nice button a few days ago, actually
Yep.
yesterday, and that's a nice support level where it stopped, 176-ish, and looking pretty good to the upside, like generally for the next few days or so. So
Yep.
I'm a long on Tesla.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. For me, I've just braked out of what I call this, like it's the manipulation zone. You do get best execution here, so there was a
Yeah,
reason yesterday that they sold there. This one here, I'm playing up to, yeah, it should have 192.56, but we'll see whether once that opening execution is out of the way, we can see what we've got there.
what else do you looking at right now? You're saying Uber. Let's see, guys.
Uber.
Uber. Yeah. I gotta tell you, I love Uber. Like using that, I don't have it here local, but when I'm flying to Europe, I always use Uber. That's so easy to go by, you know?
Yeah, it is, and just get in and get out. It's fine.
I love it.
And let the car do it and the app do everything else.
Although I gotta
Um,
say, I always talk to the guys. When I'm taking a Uber, I always talk to the guys, like the drivers, right?
yeah,
And from time to time, I'm getting like negative response on them because they are saying that they take in much more than they need. Like the Uber company takes a lot of percentage wise from the drivers and such. So um, yeah, although it's very easy to use, maybe they are not the best.
yeah, I can imagine Uber get a big cut from there.
Yep.
So Uber, I've got so it's an upside move. Obviously, it's been a pre-market run there. Let me just get this out of the way so we can see where we are. From a liquidity pool perspective, nice big block sitting down here, which they've come into halfway. That's where I would see buyers hold effectively. That's what I kind of call that level of buyers hold level. Now, if I come down a little bit, yeah, so that's a nice little opening buy there for Uber as it stands at the moment. In terms of where that can go for the day, I kind of take the first swing that comes out of pre-market into either highs or lows, depending which way it goes. So now I know I've come into this higher frame liquidity pool. I am just going to run the last swing, which I see is there. This is the clearer one. So that's where I could see some resistance right here. If this is just a best execution trade, if this is just the banks getting clients a better than opening price or average price, 70.55 is where they're going to get it. The buyers would want it down at 65.80. If this level breaks, then you could have a trend day on. This has got a higher probability. If we break out of 70.52, 72.53 has got a higher probability of hitting. But for the minute, this is execution. If you just entered a buy trade on Uber, you might get some heat on it purely because sell orders are being executed right up here.
Nice.
Just
Julia, that's the whiskey. What did you do? Where did you enter? That's nice.
So
Actually, levels on the RBLX worked perfectly. Yeah.
Nice. Speaking of levels, actually, one that I just hopped in is Rumble, RUM. So
yep.
they've had, if I'm correct, a little bit of a push lately. But so that's just been on some news. They've added, well, they brought Portnoy over for one thing. And then obviously it's sort of in the whole Trump related cluster of things. But it's right now hitting a key swing low from April of last year. So I feel like it could push up, but it's hitting resistance here. So if it rejects, obviously room back to the downside.
Rumble. Yeah, I think. Let's see what we've got. I
am bullish on them long term. I hold shares and warrants, but yeah, it's just the the levels often more important than.
What's Scott? What's the level on you got on Tesla?
Tesla.
What's the price for it?
There it is. So that will be 188.55 ish would be the first one for me on that one.
At the bottom.
At the bottom, yeah. Where it should push to now. That's where I'm seeing it. It can go anywhere between. It can accumulate down here. That's the thing. So from these highs, I see a target down here now into this zone, which is between 185 and 184.10, where you could just see some accumulation. That's where you might see your kind of reverse head and shoulders, a double bottom, that sort of thing, if we're going to push up. But like I say, these little moving averages kind of indicate, yeah, we're still, there we go. We're pushing down into that now. So let's see what happens as we get down into that zone now. But yeah, that is a kind of clockwork opening volume trade to play. So let's see if Tesla accumulates a little bit at the bottom here. Yeah. What was how did the RBLX play out, Michael? Where's
So yeah, I'll share the screen. I didn't take it though, but made a nice move to the upside, held support, break through the resistance, held support, and then went all the way up by $1. So that's a quick buck there. Right now, if we'll break the 46, so that's the area that we marked from the hourly chart. So if it will break through this 46, retest it, we have plenty of room to the upside, reaching this high of pre-market. That's one scenario. The other one will be fading, breaking the support of 44.70, retesting it, and then dropping again, maybe even halfway to around 42-ish. So that's also could be a nice move. So either way, those two scenarios are on my watch list. I'm still in Tesla and Baba, added a little bit more, waiting for it to drop to the 185 on Tesla. That could be a nice area, as you said as well. So
you're still working a long position, is that you mean? You're still working that long?
Yeah, Tesla and Baba, both of them. Yeah.
So your bias, as you said earlier, is still long on Tesla. So you're just accumulating those shares as it pops down.
Let's see if we got anything else pop in there. Watching my scanners, basically looking for obviously high volume, strong move to the up or down. NVIDIA doing a nice move like always.
Oh yeah, I tried shorting that one briefly, and it just
that's a tough one to short.
Well, I was long ARM and AMD, but the problem was I was being disciplined on my size, and didn't realize I closed out my entire AMD long. So I just re-entered both long, and now they're coming down.
The problem here is that you don't have a lot of areas that you can mark as resistance, right? So I guess the next one should be around 694-ish, roughly $2 of a range. So technically still looks pretty good to the upside, maybe holding support at 686 and then breaking through, reaching the next resistance level or so.
Oh, here's an interesting one. Target, TGT. I called this out the other day, and yeah, I nailed that one. It just made a stronger push than I was expecting. But it looks like there's a gap down that it could close here. And there's also, for whatever reason, the level 141.41, so 14141, always acts as a kind of magnet for this thing. And we're above that now, so it's either reclaimed and is pushing, or I don't know, it might still go. It's every time I've thought it's topped, it pushed some more, but
yeah, it's actually that's a nice gap that it closed on May, like open gap from May, and we are above it, as you mentioned, and 147 is it was a great place to start buying, especially after it got resistance from here, bounced above it, took that support, the buyers came in and push it higher. So that's a very interesting one to look at. Maybe even for the rest of the day, if it will break, this is a kind of small one, but if it could break through the 148 and start a new run.
Gotcha. Taquito Trades in the chat there's just called out that Hollow has been halted, which is correct. It was halted at what time we got there? 9:48. So we can expect that to resume at any time. It halted at 4:36, right at the newest benchmark 2, but it has already blown 1, and there it goes to the upside again. Huge move to the top. So this is what's happening when we generally down here we had this buyer's liquidity pool hold. That was pre-market. It went up and hit a pre-market benchmark 2. I kind of expect that to hold for the either the pre-market or for the session high of day. If it breaks, it can literally do almost the same again. Literally, like if I drew a triangle around that, a rectangle around that whole move, you could literally take that to the next, or if I can grab it to that next low, and see how it kind of almost repeats the formula again and just says, right, that's it. Let's run it again. And we're taking it up to 466. Now that is how we get supernovas, by the way, right? It's a program trade, normally not just one. There's a number of stocks in there, but it's a program trade, and they're coming back extra. There's extra people getting involved in these program trades, and they're almost guaranteed they're going to get that next pump. But that's how you get a supernova built, and right now is kind of something again. It's a benchmark 2. That's where I would look to come in here and just see if we can't get that seller's liquidity pool to hold. It's a very aggressive trade. I'm not comfortable with front side. With this front side, I'd rather these on a day 2 than day 1. But kind of right now, this benchmark is having a go at holding. And my ideal trade would be a kind of a little crawl back. So anyone that's just trying to get in short now, seeing this big dip, I'm thinking is going to take some heat on it. But this could be the high of the day. And if it is, we're going to pull back to this 460, hopefully. And then I could take a short with very, very low risk. I'm literally be in there kind of 470 with a stop at higher day. So 25 cents, 15 cents of risk there. That's how I would play that front side on Hollow. Thanks, Taquito, for that. What else is going on here? How many likes we got? Do we get enough likes for a giveaway at 11?
Let's look at that. 11, you said?
What? I didn't know what time the giveaway was, actually. 20 likes. Right?
So 20 for each mini buying power. And I think last time I checked, we were at 6 mini buying powers. So let's have a look at that. I mean, wow, 170 almost. So
Whoa.
do the math. So it's like 8 right now, 8 accounts of mini buying power. That's super nice.
Nice.
I see someone is asking about AMD. Let's pull up this chart for a second. I'll take it. So AMD, I looked at it pre-market, like an hourly chart with the pre-market, the gray area that you see. The main thing that I see here is this area of resistance between the 170-250 all the way down like $1.50. So that's the resistance. So if you look in the intraday, we will drop in a second to the 1 minute chart, but technically what I would love to do, and this is something I always do when I'm trading the Nasdaq, is basically just mark the levels on the hourly chart and wait until I get something out of it, because trading in the range, like in the middle of the big moves, in most cases will give you lower success rate. So in my eyes, it's just waiting until you reach this area of resistance and then try to build your short position and manage the trade, right? We might see some nice tiny moves intraday on a 1 minute chart, but this is the main area where you will get a lot of sellers coming in and pushing the price down, or trying at least to push the price down again. So generally speaking, try to work those levels. For example, the low here, right? This support area, I marked it before, I guess, and you can see it still worked perfectly. So when the price dropped to this support area, this is a place where intraday you want to look for the buy and manage the trade or scale into the trade, as well as if you did it here. So look for the main areas and then try to build your trade from there. This is the other one right here at 180. So whenever it will decide to go all the way to 180, this will be a great place to start shorting it intraday, because you know you're using the sellers that coming in from the hourly chart that should be aggressive after they showed you already a few times that they did it and dropped the price. So in that case, this should be a great place to short it. But let's go on a 1 minute chart and see if we have something here. Yeah, I don't really see it. Just, and it's not a lot. I mean, it's $1.50 to the upside until you start shorting it. This is what I would. This is what I would do. Just wait for the resistance, build a position, short it along the way as it continue inside this range, and hopefully you will get a nice drop, maybe even to support.
Can I give my take on that, Michael? Because I think that's just so this is kind of what I've done with that. So there's this swing here that it's the pre-market, and you think pre-market is for it. There's a term called like positioning, right? And they can position pre-market. Now the market makers are not really allowed to start doing their business until the open. So positioning is kind of pre-market positioning without the use of market makers, and that's the kind of area there that I concentrate on. And that's the area that you could literally just draw a box around. So if I'm saying, right, the middle of this price area here is 16915, I want clients to get a better price than that, right? So if I've got sellers, I want them to get 185. Doesn't matter if it goes above that, but they get a better price than 169. And if I've got the buyers, I want to give them 168.35. So they're the two lines that I drew on my chart this morning for best execution sellers and best execution buyers. And I think that's what we've literally from this low to that high, and that's where they are. So that to me is the opening business very nearly concluded, because their sell orders and their buy orders are fulfilled. Now, if that is a balance, I would expect to just kind of it to pull back to like 169 to that medium price. If it's not, then we need to wait and watch and see what happens. But at the minute, I'd be looking at these highs where we just this kind of range here. That's a spread that's being accumulated now, and I would like to see a break above 170.60, 170.60, or if we're going to potentially go to the lows down to 166, then I'd like to see 169.17 broke. So let's see what we do here. You're just going for it now on that upside. Just going for it now. Yeah, if we'll see if that punches, but that's the sort of thing I'm looking for. Is I want to get that business out of the way, because that's where you can get caught up. You get straight in on the stock at the open, not knowing that the business is conducted just above and below that price. But now's the better time to think, all right, now what way is AMD going to go?
Nice.
Where's Tesla? What do we got on Tesla?
We don't.
Yeah, I already took profit twice on AMD, so I'm still running with that. We'll see what happens.
That's
I
good.
put a trail on though.
That's good. Tesla's still dropping. But before going into that, let's stop for a second. And guys, we want to do the first giveaway. Okay, we're gonna cut that into two. So first 3 mini buying power evaluation accounts. So that's $20,000 of buying power to trade with. Hopefully you will pass the evaluation and then get funded and trade with us and keep the profit, some of it at least. So what we're gonna do now is this. Gil in the back, you're gonna pull up some comments randomly with a computer that will put up the comments. The one that we see on the chart right now or on the in the window will be the winner. What you need to do is take a screenshot and send us an email so we can basically give you credit to open the account. So here we go, guys. First giveaway. Let's go, Gil. Okay, Blues. You are the one right now, the first one to win this giveaway. Mini buying power, $20,000 buying power to trade with. Blues. Okay, second one. Is it Knolly 72 or Nolly 72? RBLX. That's a good one. You deserve it, definitely. Alrighty, and the third one, Julia. Yeah, I mean, also trading RBLX. You are ready for the challenge. So for those of you who just got picked, take a screenshot, send us an email, and we will take care of the rest. And we still got a few more, at least 5 more, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Gil,
Real
let me
quick
know. Yeah, that
spinning
was a quick one. So Gil, let me know when you're ready with the others.
BHC is breaking out right now. This is one that I like long term, but it looks like it's pushing and breaking out to the upside. So it just broke its opening wick up. And
yeah, and Tokito, you also won. I'm looking at the Baba. Yeah, going back to Baba, I'm adding a little bit more to that. I'm still, because I took a very small amount of shares from the beginning. I mean, I'm in a loss of $100 on, a little bit more than $100 on Baba right now. So for me, I'm okay to add more to the position because I got plenty of room in regards to the risk that I'm taking. So that's fine by me. Adding a bit more.
Whoa, Tesla's on a run.
Tesla is dropping like crazy. Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. No stop. Let's have a look at Tesla. I'm trying to see what's the next level here. Again, also on Tesla, I took not too many shares, so I can still play it out. We're actually reaching that support level on 183 right now. Where we at? So it's between 183 to 182.40. That's what I'm seeing. But I don't see the hold yet. You can see that high volume. Can I take it for a second, Scott?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
So that's Tesla support between 183 to 82.50s. You can see high volume coming in. So that's a good sign. High volume coming in when the price is extended will show you in most cases of basically the switch between the buyers and the sellers or the manipulation, right? But I don't see it yet. So we're getting to the area, but I don't see a full stop yet. So I'm waiting for it. Let it ride a little bit more, play a little bit more until we'll add. What are you saying, Tim?
Target getting ready to close that gap down to 144.45. It looks like
145. Yeah. So a nice move to the upside, maybe retesting it, and then a drop will be even nicer. Did you take the short?
Yeah, I'm in short. Just when I started when I saw that right shoulder start forming there.
Nice.
And then one that's dropping now, but I might re-enter long after a little bit is ENVX, ENVX. It looks like, now this is between yesterday and today, but it looks like it might be forming a bullish Gartley pattern.
Which symbol? Sorry.
Echo November Victor X-ray, ENVX.
ENVX.
X is an X-ray.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep, perfect.
What do you see?
So what I was looking at was if you have the, let's see, I'm on a 3-minute chart with the overnight hidden, and it just looked to me like it could be a bullish Gartley forming once it completes whatever leg down it's doing there. Oh, and that's right on the what moving average is that?
200. Yeah, worked nicely yesterday, 2 days ago with the resistance. Held support today and now acting as resistance as well. That's a nice one. We are doing fine. How about yourself, Hack, Dagan? We are doing great. Just like, but if you want to comment, feel free, guys, definitely. And continue with the likes so we can get more of that mini buying power giveaway.
Holy cow. I just saw, so I went to take a look at, so McDonald's, I was wondering if there'd be weakness in fast food. McDonald's was actually pushing a little bit earlier. I thought to take a look at Chipotle though. Check out CMG. I don't know if this is a squeeze or what, but it's kind of nuts.
Nice. Wow, the numbers are so high.
Yeah. And this is actually an example. I've got it up on my screen. I can share it, but this is an example
yeah.
where
Take it
even
away.
with the ultimate size account, which I have, you know, this is a large stock, right? So this isn't something that I could really comfortably trade in my personal account at all
Yeah.
at this point. But, you know, even the options, right? Because it's such a large price and they're always 100 shares are so expensive. But that's something where here in Trade the Pool, I can take a, I think it's going to keep going, honestly. Like that's my hunch, but let me, so I'm going to actually, this is a little trick I like to do. Gil, are we able to put mine up by any chance?
Yeah, go
Show a
ahead.
little-
It's there. Okay.
There you go, perfect. So one thing I like to do is I've got the chart entry things here on the right, and I've got my preset sizes. So I'm going to actually just put in at the bid. This is kind of a hack, but it works quickly. So I put it in at the bid. It's not going to fill right away. And if it does, I get a good entry. So I am actually, I'm going to do 3 shares because honestly, if it goes down, it could easily come back here and retest if it falls
Yeah.
through. If I did even like 10 shares, I'd be, even on the ultimate, I'd be testing my max loss ability there, but I don't mind doing
That's a
that.
crazy one. Yeah. I mean,
But
if you're looking at the hourly, sorry, the weekly chart, you're looking
Yep.
from,
yeah, back
from
to you. Go
20,
ahead. I can
from
bring it up too. Yeah.
2018, I got it. 2018 traded at around 400 and now at 2700. What made Chipotle go? I mean, it's food from 400 to 2700. Do you know the macro behind it, Tim?
I don't.
What drives the price?
I just know that I like their I like they've got the sofritas. It's the tofu because I'm vegetarian, so they have the tofu. It's like really seasoned and cooked up real nice. So I like that for a good burrito. Them and Moe's are the only you know, and most anywhere else you get a veggie burrito, it's just you know, veggies. You know, so I like being able to get some
Yeah.
protein.
Yeah,
I'm
Tesla.
gonna
Go ahead.
go ahead.
So Tesla is bouncing from that pivot right between the 183 to the 182.40, 70 in that case. And there is also like an intraday pivot point as well. I see on the other chart. So that's a nice bounce. we might see another drop to this area just to take liquidity and then try to bounce again. But that's a good one that we see here. And also Baba started to move just a tiny bit more. So yeah, so far.
You know, another interesting one like that, like you were talking about the run up for that is Celsius, right? So that's been on a tear lately, CELH. And so a lot of people are just trying. I mean, if you, I don't know if you've seen the stock for Monster Energy drink,
Yeah.
but if you know the Celsius thing, I think a lot of people are just trying to get in on the next monster.
Hmm.
So it's kind of crazy the moves that it makes. Um,
Yeah, the Nasdaq, Joe, is up. I saw that. You know what? Let me take a minute to talk a little bit about my trade there, and I'll share my screen in a second. So it dropped. I'm looking at the Nasdaq right now. 1 minute. I actually expected it to drop just a little bit more to take some areas here and then bounce, but actually it made a nice push to the upside. So this is my the Fivers account. The Fivers is our parent company, and basically I'm trading the Nasdaq on that, and so I'm still in with a tiny like a 0.3, so up 600 right now. But actually, I covered most of my trade from the last 2 days. It was or yesterday basically. Um, 2 days ago, I started and I covered that today, all of those positions. So basically, I started here. As you can see, we reached that top on the Nasdaq. That's a 1 minute chart on Nasdaq 5. I scaled in, added more here, here, and here, and then started to cover as it continued to my favor. And the thing about it, and that's roughly the most important thing, and I talked about it tons of times, but it's always good to say that again. Those two, when I entered here, was actually only a 0.3 contract, right? So it's nothing. When the price dropped all the way down, I was down in total roughly 1800. And for me, it's still within my range that I'm willing to risk. So because I'm entering with like just a tiny bit just to test the water, exactly with Tesla and Baba, I can add to the position because I'm still within my dollar risk that I'm willing to lose in total, right? And this is why I could add more to the position because I'm still okay within that range. And if I'm right on the idea that the price should continue to the upside, I can get a nice trade as you can see here. So try to play with it. Maybe it will work for you as well. Start small, build your position. If it goes against you, you can add once it reaches support levels. Again, only if you're risking, if you're within the risk parameters that you're willing to lose. And then when it turn and start moving to your favor, start covering that position.
I saw a couple calls or questions real quick in the chat.
Yeah.
So, number one, the difference between Fivers and TTP. Like Michael said, TTP is part of it's sort of offshoot of the Fivers,
Mm.
dealing with stocks. And the Fivers is, you know, Forex, apparently commodities and Bitcoin now. I just found out that recently added.
Yeah, added also crypto.
And, you know, so indices, commodities, Forex, those kind of things. So,
Yeah. So
and
different programs, but same concept. You will go through evaluation phase. If you pass the evaluation, we'll give you funds to trade and split the profit with us, basically. So
yeah.
yeah,
And
that's a
there's
nice
even
move on
one with
Nasdaq.
the Fivers where it's the hyper growth, where I mean, it's the same under the hood. You could break it down either way, but you basically get to take home half of your profits from your first evaluation phase, which is kind of nice. So the question also, do you guys mainly trade? So you can trade also if you want to trade the indices in Trade the Pool. For example, the Qs or
Yeah,
Nasdaq, you can
yeah,
trade QQQ or TQQQ, which is leveraged. So we have a few people that trade almost exclusively that. So yeah, and do you mainly trade large caps with the TTP platform? We have people that do a whole mix of things. In the chat, we actually have a pretty active community. So we have a section that's lower volume, people calling out just alerts on different things, and then we've got just a really active chatter area, and we've got people calling out all kinds of different things therein. A lot of people do like shorting the small caps. There's a little community of people that just kind of focus on that. I actually like finding interesting small caps that are buy opportunities.
yeah,
I'll short them too. Pretty equal, but it's a mix.
yeah. For me, it's mostly large cap, either the Nasdaq, the Qs, Tesla, Nvidia, big names, those that can actually move. But yeah, you can literally trade anything, as Tim mentioned. Basically, since you have enough capital to do literally whatever you want, you can trade any type of strategy, any market that you like. Um, for the guy that's asking why we don't have MetaTrader, because MetaTrader is not for stock traders. You can trade with MetaTrader like 30 symbols or so. But if you want to be a stock trader, you need to have a system that is good and ready for stock trading.
Yeah, and I will say if you're because I've used both. I prefer the Trade the Pool platform quite a bit. MetaTrader, I mean, you can customize it. Although having tried to do a little coding for it, it's a little bit grody under the hood. But yeah, from just being able to sit down and use it, yeah, you can extend MetaTrader, but the usability is head and shoulders above, or I would say the reverse. This is head and shoulders above MetaTrader, I think.
Yeah, and as Tim mentioned, or not, we are currently working on some crazy projects. Hopefully, we will release them in the next month. So either way, stay tuned, because we are going to do some really crazy stuff, including a new hub and other that I can't really share right now, but also competitions and many cool stuff. So stay tuned. And this is the first one, first live that we're doing in Trading Room, as you can see. But we also gonna do that every day from Monday to Wednesday, and later on we will extend that as well. So keep coming, bring your stuff. Let's bring the community together and trade together. That will be amazing for all.
Yeah, Michael, we need a code name for our secret project. We need a cool code name. So this here on ARM, I will say it's starting to make this push up, retesting the opening high here. But I will note if this fails, I have to admit it unfortunately could be a head and shoulders pattern here. So this will be really a key level right here on ARM for me. Oh, this is an hourly. Let me zoom in here. But yeah.
You know what? I think we missed PLTR yesterday.
Oh, that was yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday, and today it's flying.
Whoa, man.
That's
Yeah,
a
this
nice
had.
one.
I saw some analysis,
Yeah.
people thinking just on the market as a whole, we're just going to be running stops to the upside. So definitely feels long. Yeah, that target short, I'm getting blown out of that right now.
So you know what? I'm gonna short AMD real quickly. To try to catch that.
Let me trim some profits first before you do that real quick.
Don't worry, I'm going slow.
Oh, actually, no, my trail. So yeah, I wasn't even paying attention, and the trailing stop caught it. So
nice. That's a great one. It reached the resistance that we talked about between the 171 to 172.50. Made an incredible move, and I'll share it for a second, a tiny second, Scott.
Yeah, sure.
So I need to just a second. I'll share my screen again. So the idea is, look at this, right? We had this resistance area that we talked about, but look, the main thing is this candle right here, right? So this huge candle with this huge volume. Now, in most cases, a lot of the people, algos or traders, will look to buy it above the 172. That's a round number, or the break of this, we'll call it a flag. And once they do that and trying to buy, it will be much easier for big money to start selling and dump their shares, right? So that's the concept. And in most cases, when you will see high volume coming in with a big candle at the top of resistance, that could be a classic fake out. And so I would go to the downside with it. I missed that. Probably would have started to short it a little bit earlier, but let's see. I'm right now just started to do that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Scott?
Yeah, it's it was AMD was in its benchmark, and I've got this. So I think you work into your positions, and I kind of wait to see if that first liquidity pool opens. So yeah, I totally agree. I think I was working off yesterday's lows. I think if I bring this in, I was working off yesterday's lows, and then obviously it's the trade's just been working through post-market and pre-market. But yeah, so I've just gone into that benchmark up there. So I would expect to see either some accumulation up there or just a V-shaped reversal. But either way, I'd just like to know if they need to come back and get that liquidity or just see an attempt to it. Because sometimes if it falls just short and it's front run, then it can dump even quicker. But I just like... Yeah, I would short 172 right there if we can tack into it and then short there and watch it drop. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hollow. Let me just jump to Hollow. I think there's quite a bit of interest in Hollow at the moment. It did do another run. It is currently dangerous territory. I don't know if anyone was looking at GRRR for the past 2 days. It just kind of done this. It kind of got to its highs and then done this and grinded to the side all day. But yeah, this is where we are kind of trapped against this seller's liquidity pool, and we have this buyer's pool. We did tack into the level 1. There's more down there if they need it. So my preference would be either we're playing high of days here. So a front side aggressive is pulling back to what it's just done now, but then I'd have to see a break of this to play to the downside. If not, obviously there's always 2 options. Is if this can't hold, then you could see new highs on this. But at the moment, it's kind of blue sky on Hollow. It can just literally be a supernova at this point. So very dangerous on the front side.
We do have a question, Scott, while you're talking. There's a question on taxes. So I know in the U.S. it's basically treated just as contracting income, like you do any other kind of contracting thing. Because we're actually, the framework with Trade the Pool is you're actually, when you do the eval, you're auditioning basically for a contracting role. And then the firm brings you on if you pass that. So the question was, I guess, so in the U.S. that would be just under, earned income. But how is that? Not capital gains, I'll say that. But how is it in the UK? Do you know?
Yeah, so I've set myself up in the UK as what we call a limited company, same as an LLC, and I would effectively it'd be like an invoice to trade the pool on those earnings, on those payouts, and I would get paid. I would have to pay 20% corporation tax on those profits, and then everything else, it depends how I take it out. I can either pay myself and pay the 20%, or the tiering tax rate, or I can take them out as a dividend, kind of monthly. So yeah, I take them out as dividends. So any income into that company comes out as dividends on that.
yeah, I suppose if you wanted, you could, yeah, you can either just take the pay directly to yourself or set up, you know, a Actually, Michael, are you able to do that? Can someone sign up and invoice and be paid as a company, or is
As
it
a
just as
company,
a?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, so yeah, if you wanted, then you could, you know, pull that in. Obviously, not tax advice, but one thing that is
Yeah.
nice, is that again, it's um, contracting income. It's not capital gains, but it also means that because it's number one, it's the firm doing the trading, and number two, it's at the firm's discretion. Like when you're trading, it's basically like you're in the simulator, and you're basically giving the firm insight into good directions, good entries, good positions, and then the trading desk chooses what to do with it. So because of those factors, you don't have to worry about things like wash sales and stuff like that. You don't have to worry about how day trading with TTP might coincide with your with your personal holdings and things like that. So that's real nice as well. Again, obviously not tax advice, but my understanding is that that only matters if you are a controlling owner of the corporation or something. So
yeah.
that's real nice too. It makes it a lot simpler when you just say I made this much this month rather than that giant list of
Yeah.
trades.
So the Nasdaq is pushing higher and working against my AMD, although Tesla is moving higher as well. So that's okay. I'm waiting for the drop in the Nasdaq. You can start seeing the volume increasing. So we just need to wait until we'll see a big one coming in. It already broke through that. If we're looking at like the daily chart, for me it looks pretty good still to the upside. Maybe trying to reach the resistance level from this trend line we played with the last what is it, like a year or so, like half a year. So so for me, generally speaking, like overall looks good to the upside, trying to reach resistance, but intraday I will wait for that probably a negative divergence in the MACD and high volume, similar to this one that started the move, and then try to short it or add more to the AMD position.
Gotcha.
Still,
Real quick,
still
R.A.
enjoying.
Wilson, are you able to hear? Is this a better volume level for you now?
Which one?
No, someone was just saying my volume was
Oh.
real low for them. So.
Oh, like this volume.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Big push on volume. Yeah.
High volume coming in. Yeah. Still loving this trade. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, maybe I closed it tiny bit before. Still a nice move, but yeah, that's also very important one. Maybe we can talk about this as well, Scott. Leaving some portion of your position and let it ride, right? Because from time, obviously, when you go through the process in trade a pool, the evaluation, we see a lot of the accounts and trading styles, and I see many traders covering their whole position right away when it reached, let's say, a 122 or 123, but that's it, they're done. And instead of that, guys, try to keep even 10% of your portion of the total shares that you have. So let's say you have 300 shares you started with, keep 30 inside and let it play, because first of all, from time to time, those 30 shares will make more than the 70 or the 90%. And besides that, you will see in time that you might want to wait a little bit longer with your position and basically take bigger profits. So what's your take on that, Scott?
Yeah, I think that's where my kind of benchmark play comes in, is where if I'm taking so just a quick look at Tesla here, I see so it bounced out of here, because I'll have a look at the NQ in a sec. It bounced out of this So ignored everything on the way down. This was the key one. This was the buyer's hold level, bounce, bounce, bounce. Went to the seller's hold level. That's the candle that you want to short. As Michael said, it's that, you know, zooms up, zooms down, closes as a pin bar. That's the one you want to get involved in, and then you're just stair stepping all the way down. We hit that benchmark. Now that's kind of where I would. Let's go back to the NQ. That's kind of where I would say from this morning, if I'm drawing those levels in, because there's something called like a purse, right? So it's the same as in kind of betting. There's a purse that says, you know, the investment into a run or into a drop has to finish at some point. It takes money to make that push up, and there is a purse, and that purse runs out. So the way I play those you know, taking some off and scaling out is these first two levels here. Is my audio okay, guys?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so I kind of call this manipulation zone only because if you get involved down here, that's what it feels like, but actually it's accumulation. And that is accumulation for a run up or down if you can get out of it. So what I like is to say, right, this is my target 1. I'll take some off there, and this is my target 2. A lot of times you go straight to target 2 before there is some profit taking institutionally. But now I'm here, I'm thinking I am going to take, I'm probably going to have most of my position off right now on an intraday chart. If it's swing trading, obviously these levels are going to be a lot bigger and a lot longer, and you know these levels are a lot wider to hold and take profit. But yeah, right now I'd probably be at least 80% of my position off at this area, purely because I would expect this to happen. Now we've reached that benchmark, I would expect to come down, and NQ loves that sort of price action. NQ is literally comes back and gets that money every single time.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, NQ is it's the craziest index going, and not surprising when you've got stocks like Tesla doing this. So now I'm coming into a seller's hold, so we've added to that position. I'm literally break even on Tesla because I put my starter in up here, but I held it because of this level down here, and that literally aggressive move there was an ad to get me now at break even on Tesla. So we'll see what happens into this seller's hold liquidity pool. Now's the sort of thing where I play pool to pool. I'd literally be taking the most recent swing here and seeing where that is. So now, for example, I'd be saying, right, if I can get some sort of curl in this liquidity pool, I would play it, but my target would only be here before we get to kind of lunchtime, and then you're just in with all the algos at that point. I don't like to really be in then.
Yeah.
What other questions we got?
Okay. Gil is telling me that we got 5 more accounts, 5 more evaluation accounts to spread to give you guys. So Gil, let me know when you're ready. Again, guys, take a screenshot if it's you on the screen that Gil is pulling up, and send us an email with that screenshot. So Mr. Biz, take a screenshot, send us an email. This is yours, mini buying power. Let's go, guys. $20,000 of buying power to trade with. Hence, you are the second one. We got 3 more to go. So hence, take a screenshot. Okay. Uninvited guest. That's a nice name. So yeah, same for you, buddy. Take a screenshot and send us an email. That's a giveaway for the mini buying power. For those of you first time with us, and not familiar with what we do, we fund stock traders. Go to our traderpool.com, the website, read a little bit, choose the program you want to join, the test you want to take. Depends on the buying power you want to trade with. Go through the evaluation, pass it. become a funded trader, as many already did. You can check out, obviously, our YouTube channel and listen to the interviews with the funded traders. Some of them are doing incredible jobs, pulling $20,000-$30,000 every month. That's incredible to see. So go ahead and do that. Tiny, not so tiny, $20,000 buying power. It's yours as well. Do we have one more, Gil? Fernando, it's yours. Alrighty, guys, that was amazing, and all of you guys that just got this giveaway mini buying power account, go to Tradepool, send us an email to help@tradepool.com with the screenshot. We will set you up with the account and you will start trading with us. For those of you who didn't get it, go to tradepool.com. We got 14 days free trial just to test the system, to understand what it's like to trade with risk parameters. It's a bit different than trading your own capital, but still, once you get the idea and tweak it to work for you with your trading style, it's definitely a game changer.
I agree. And someone was asking me yesterday, one of the big benefits about trading in the pool is if you've ever traded a cash account on a cash account broker, and you like short selling, which by the looks of the chat, some of you do, is there are no locate fees on Trade the Pool, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, so in terms of my locate fees were always massive compared to my commissions, and that is an issue that is overcome by trading with Trade the Pool, that there's no locate fees.
That's amazing. And guys, yeah, incredibly, that was the first one that we started with, the first session. So we're gonna have many more, of course. Like I said, every day from Monday till Wednesday. In future time, we will add more days and hours too. So I'll sum up what I got on the chart. Besides the Nasdaq trade that I closed almost all of it, I kept 0.3 just to let it run maybe for the next days or so, because Nasdaq for me looks pretty good still to the upside. So I will leave it like that. But besides that, still got those open trades, almost break even on Tesla and Baba. Like I said, added nicely on the way down. Maybe missed the bottom here. If I would have added on the way down here, I would probably made some nicer move. But basically, break even on Tesla. Baba still losing just a tiny bit. As you can see, I added more here. Again, still within the risk parameters. So this is not a lot risk-wise. So I'm good with that too, waiting for it to bounce and maybe add more. And the one that started to work, that's AMD, as we talked about, reaching that resistance level. Nice capitulation, drop, added as it goes against me within the risk parameters. Now it started to move and making those profits.
Nice.
One, if we have time, I'd love to get your take on is this Jasper, JSPR. So it's kind of interesting. They announced, I was kind of surprised because they were up on the announcing of a underwritten offering pricing, $12.95, and the stock went up. This was yesterday, and I was like, what's going on? But they're actually presenting at a conference soon. So there's FYI, those of you who like to trade pharma stuff, the 34th annual healthcare conference, the Oppenheimer Health Conference, is on February 13th. So they're apparently presenting there. So I think that might be the reason for the pop. So I shorted this, but I'm just curious both your take on what might be going on here, like why it might have popped when the price for the offering was $12.95, and what you see as the outlook from here.
Saw this yesterday on a scanner. It's I didn't for a $16 stock. I didn't think it was. I just didn't see a lot of liquidity in it yesterday. It's a bit patchy. However, let me just take a quick look at the daily.
They have treatments for urticaria, which is a fancy word for rashes, and then they also they're working on acute myeloid leukemia, and myelodysplastic syndrome. Okay, I have to look that up.
Wow.
But
So the reason I like this for upside play, at least so I had a liquidity pool from the last run up sitting between 22 and 30. Obviously, that's massive. But I like these volume days that are kind of, and actually I scan for this. It's like, show me a stock that's got 5 to 10 times volume more than its average like last 20 days sort of thing. So when this happens and you can see that volume come in, I kind of throw it on the watch immediately, because it doesn't matter if it's a down bar or a bull bar, but if it starts to hold at that point, I kind of think, there's something potentially going on. The first thing I then do is look at insider ownership and institutional ownership, because the liquidity levels work better if there's institutional ownership. It kind of makes sense. So I like to see an element, above 5% of institutional ownership. And then when you come across and you see what this is going to be a reverse stock split, is it 1 for 10 stock split? Now that means there's definitely something going on. So my guess is they announced they were going to do a stock split on the 13th of December, and then they did it on the 4th of Jan after they got approval. And that in itself is okay. So when is this going to start running? And that's when
and of course, then as these companies do, the next step was the offering after the reverse split.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about getting it, making that money. And anyone that trades small caps, you know that most of these companies, if you look at the capital that they've got in bank, it's just gone. So as soon as they make it, it's gone within 6 months, and hence they come back down to their resting liquidity levels. But I've still got a level here at the moment up to kind of $18 on this. If I come down to a smaller time frame, yeah. So it's breaking levels to the upside. This was a benchmark one here that, there was some like took a bit of treacle to get through there. It was just walking through, and then today we've got another push. So I think we've got 17, 18 on this. If it does want to break, then it's going to look for that liquidity pool up there in the low to mid 20s.
Yeah, I think it's going to retest either the trend line's right here, and this is support, or I think it might make its way down to 15 or so before continuing back up if it does go up. But I was just looking up their, it's $177 million market cap. They have 137 million cash, and their burn is only 3.8 million.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. There's let's see, and there's a 5 million share float, so $80 million capital worth. So that's not I don't know if that's squeeze worthy, but potential.
Yeah, it's not. It's certainly not one of your penny stocks at $15 now, is it? But yeah, I think it's still started off that way and is following that stock split formula. So we'll see how much more legs it's got on it. But I definitely think a pull down into this 15 area could see us curl up and at least another $3 or so on that.
So how about Holo? Money is sending us some fires.
That looks good. We're not halted on that again, are we? No, we're still, yeah. So that was the level there. This is the one to hold. So sellers, I think someone in the chat was just shouting that out. What's happening at this point here when it's at about 480, 490, and this is what it was. There was a seller's hold level there. Now in this kind of aggressive market and this run up. If this level fails, that's it. I wouldn't get in here anticipating it necessarily, because it can just crack and drop down by $2 or so. But this one here is worthy of getting in for what, another near another $2. Yeah, so that's on a rampage today on Hollow.
Okay. So Scott, Tim, I think we can start wrapping it up. So
Okay.
it was a great one, great first one. I loved it. Hopefully you guys at home also enjoyed it. Let us know if you liked it. Write your comments in the chat box. We will continue bring you those good stuff next week, Monday, 9 Eastern time.
And speaking
Yeah,
of chat, feel free to join our Discord server. So we'll do
true.
some live
Yeah.
on Friday. We all do some live trading together. So you can join in one of these sessions. Be a lot of fun.
So yeah, guys,
Brilliant.
thanks so much, Scott, Tim, and
You're welcome.
all
Thanks,
the guys
everybody.
in the back. And I'll see you next time. We'll see you next time on Monday, 9 Eastern.